Okay, so I'm starting to work more on what I've been calling my 2D, 3D project. What it is I have organized a lot of my drawings from 2020 to this time in 2021, and a lot are from the figurative drawing I've been doing, and I'm integrating them into encaustic paintings. Also, I'm planning to do three-dimensional work like mobiles, and as well as cutouts. And I'm envisioning this kind of like an installation. So here we go. Here are a few things that are in the works. And this is the first time I've recorded this. I am sketching and making my plans, but I have not given enough time to really delve into just completing this vision. So here we go. Here's a few things. I have a few of these already cut out. I should back up and talk a little bit of how I go about it. I take my drawings, they're charcoal drawings, I soak them just to get a lot of the charcoal to run off. Then I mount them on wood, like so. And these, here's one that I haven't started doing any work with encaustic. This and this one are together, and this is a model from the DC Art Models Collective Extravaganza. So I thought, while I'm working on this, let me start filming it. Anyway, and then this also is the Mama Shadea in one of her drawing sessions, and this could have been from April or May of 2021. So my vision is taking some of these, especially the ones that are closed, and doing the cutout, because typically I do not add encaustic paint or pigment on my figures and nudes anyway. So here it is. This one that has the cutout, and I'll add color with the clothing. And anyway, so that's one. Also been working with animals. And I've thought about, like, if I do some of these with paper mache, I think I have some sketches where I'd like to include Sarah, who's modeling when we did this. They did the ancestral musings. They always have a theme, and it's like the second Saturday of the month. This was several months ago. So here it is. She's working in the fields like her grandmother. And I like these two together. And my plan is to have them or in one of the three-dimensional views. So before you go any further, I'll show you a little bit of these sketches, and you can see they're very sketchy. Okay, so here's where I've got, and you'll just see, and this is just one way of filming it. So let's try this out. Okay, so let's get a little closer. So I just had a lot of this in my head, and how do I explain it or work through it? And it's just some of the things I wrote: fanciful, fantasy, imaginary, transporting. They have a theme. We're in the production. As artists, we respond. And this I put about the DC Art Model Collective, which we've been really fortunate to be able to use to do on Zoom. And these are models that are in the DC area. I guess they all are, I think. I know them from working with them in the past. And they've just worked together on creating this. Well, they've been doing this not just for that extravaganza. So anyway, whatever we can do for getting through the pandemic, and they did a great job. And so I enjoy it, coming to draw and also seeing what other people do. So my plan was, two of these 9x12 were larger. And as it is, I think it's about 9x12. Sarah in the fields, as maybe her grandmother did in the Midwest. And this was her connection. And I think a lot of this has to do with our connection, especially now during the pandemic, okay, which we're already a year and a half into. Today is August 17th, 2021. So park back in time, kind of like traveling in time across the world too. Like you'll see, I also do, here, let me go back to. I also have been drawing regularly on Sundays, which is through a group called To Be or Not to Be Collective. And this is where the models could be anywhere in the world, and a group in London, they coordinate this, and it's been a really great community. One of the things that has been very good about COVID, which is kind of amazing. So anyway, I also feel that kind of connection with the other artists and with the models and with the people that run it all over the world. I wouldn't have known them otherwise, of course. So kind of like, here's what I put. It's like we've traveled together and connected, and we've been transported. So this is just some things I wrote down. So here's a little sketch of what I'm envisioning for my, I'm gonna do the 3D related to Sarah. Okay, here we go. So I don't know if you can see. So there's this exterior scene, and I'm normally more of a 2D artist, but I'm trying to form these. So these are exteriors, okay. Almost like she's working here and she's working here. And I thought maybe with other farm animals, it's actually two of the same figure, same person, time, place, and back in time. So I thought, how would I show this? Kind of like a scene here or here, like maybe if you're looking at a play and you see people to the other side. So it is me figuring out the 3D. Also, I could be like doing an incise drawing. That means drawing with a tool, like, let me get that out here. Incisive tool here. Sketch to like almost like engraving, incising into the wax that I built some kind of interior. I have 3 structures that I haven't done any incising yet, but this is going to be different. I almost like it's a Z-shaped, but it's 3-dimensional. Here she is working in the fields, and here she is hanging up the laundry. So another view of going back in time. So I will build this shape. Maybe I'll have something where the tree kind of comes along and connects with the others. So I'm kind of figuring this out. Do I want to cut out the figure, the tree? I like the idea of the tree connecting. So I'm going to build this shape. Here's a little more, and I did, before I did the soaking and decided to use this one, I thought of a different figure of hers. But anyway, so I've got more ideas. That one is coming to be. There's also a model in India that I've already done 2 encaustic paintings of. And these are flat, the 2D ones. But here I'm wondering, maybe I will cut hers out too. Or paper mache. So I'm still kind of trying to figure out what is going to be best. And then I did come up, and I didn't really know about Larry Rivers and his, I had seen one before, like a tableau, but it's like a bas relief of the de Koonings that he did. of like red room. So what I looked at was, do I want to do this huge 3D sculpture tableau? It looked inspiring, but I'm not sure that I would do it like that. Maybe also I'm talking about small scale like booklets, which could be with the watercolor papers. And here's what I've got a little sketch here. Is if this would be good for small scale and several for Mobile. So this is other things. So these are in the planning stages, and you can see I have some notes about it. How would this look? So I'm just sketching some of this out, or maybe the cutout in abstracted forms. So I'm glad I'm finally documenting this, because it's been more of things I've been thinking of. And this also has to do with it's about this grant that I was awarded. So I'm talking about the shapes, taking into account the poses, to replicate a sculptural, highlight a shape, maybe filling the panels or abstracted form. So this is all what I'm thinking. Anyway, it's like folded paper. Started making progress last month with the cutting out, and I need to do more soaking. So this is when I was deciding maybe more interesting to have the clothes figures. So this is just what I'm figuring out. You can see the pig's head, things like that. So I've got to work through my wood, and there's the end of my notes. Okay. All right, so I've got several in the works, and then last month, mid-month, actually exactly a month ago, I was in Philadelphia. I did Philadelphia with Leah McDonald. We've collaborated in teaching. We had a model, first live model that I've been able to draw from, and it was a figurative and caustic drawing, painting, photography workshop. So we did our drawings and also our photographs. Leah took wonderful photographs, and then students and I were working from those, and Leah were working from those drawings or photographs. So I have a couple of those I finished. A couple of these I had glued down, and I guess I had started it. I'll talk about it. I'll just see if I can get the other ones. Okay, so here is one that I actually finished, and it's about, maybe it's 8 by 12. So this is where you can see the model. It was charcoal on paper, and then I glue it onto wood, and then it's embedded in the clear medium, which I'm heating up over here. So that's my process. Always heat, fuse in between layers, and then I start applying the encaustic paint pigment. Here, I actually was demonstrating making impressions in the wax. I used a trivet, and then this was reminding me of like a wingback chair. Even though it doesn't kind of correspond with this, I just wanted to put it together. And then she had all these different flowers. So combining that, and this one, like I said, I finished. What I like about encaustic is kind of creating the relief and adding, and you just have the substance to work with. Okay, so this is one. I'll put it out of the way. This one is work in progress. So there's, you can see the drawing, which was like 9 by 12, glued onto this wood. Actually added extra because I want to keep that white background. And anyway, so charcoal drawing that I like. I kind of keep it simple, and then add the colors. Doesn't have a lot of tone in this case. This is another one where she's actually wearing a skirt, and she's leaning on the mannequin. And I'm familiar with some of the objects and other things in Leia's studio, which is fun. I don't know, masks, and there's wigs and skirts. So anyway, I'm gonna put these aside. So, what others? Okay, so this one was from a 9x12 drawing, and it's just one that I did of this figure, Kenyatta, I think, and it's mainly line, although there is tone here. You don't really see many details on her face. She was wearing a mask, and this was for Mardi Gras, I think. So maybe this was in February of this year, and I just like the bold lines. So this I'm working on. This is one of Gazelle and she at the same time. So again, it was mounted on this piece of board cutout. And so the drawing, you can see the chair and her costume. So this one, maybe I'll do a little bit more in sizing, but I don't know that I'm going to do that much more on this. So mainly this is, like I said, the reason why I have the cutouts of the clothes figures, you've got the color of the figure, not much going on in the background, just the shapes, like I said. So I'm gonna put this away. And the animals, still working on. So what I'm doing is I have a lot of, like I have this whole inventory. I couldn't even share this. It's so fast. Let me pause for now. Okay, so I'm gonna share that inventory I mentioned just to show what's happening. Okay, so let me switch this over. Wow, I was muted, sorry. Okay, so these, I have several pages. And these are, it's not everything because I haven't added to it for a couple weeks. It seems like every week I have like 20 or so more drawings. I don't know. This is not in order, but you can see what I'm working with. So let me just go over some of these. This is how I'm kind of organizing it just to make, have it make sense. Okay. So again, these are some of the drawings that I did starting in like around the pandemic, March, April 2020. And these, oh no, this one, they're not in order. This was a model who I think she was in maybe Korea. Okay, so I don't know that I have the information. Anyway, but here you can see how I'm working with line and just getting across the simplicity of a line. Over here is a model who we had, and this is the same person. This was last September, so September of 2020. And this model was in Leia's studio, and we did a virtual collaborative class. We co-taught this drawing and photography with the figure. And we shared the photographs with the students. And we had this for 4 sessions. This was the drawing session. There she is, she's got a mask on. And then some more in the studio. And I have done some artwork of this model, which is, well, I don't have it here. I mean that I've done some finished paintings in encaustic with this model. But these are 2 that I've put aside that I may just do a painting of. Here I just shared this with you. So this one and this one, I said on wood paired with wheelbarrow art working into 3D tableau shapes and somehow to connect. Here is a model who I believe is in Brazil, and it was a portrait that I did of him that I really, so I'm keeping here ones that I'm pretty fond of, that I can see using. This is Jaylene, and I think this was that same time maybe, although she's wearing kind of like a, what is it called? Fascinator on her head. So another portrait. This is one we not long ago, again, the model, the model extravaganza, and I think this was with colors. There was, maybe this was July, red, white, blue, and this model was in the blue. Okay, more of Shadea. And this one I did cut out and glued onto wood. This model may have been in Brazil also. He was wearing these high heel shoes. Here he has briefs, or I'm not sure. And then also you can see he's laying out. You always get that foreshortening in Zoom, something like this. Here, just line, but you see those high heeled shoes. Again, it's a different model. I just like some of the positions it's on this, just me figuring out the I don't know, the forms, how they all come together. Here he is wearing a mask. This model, I drew it on old papers. It was in an old book. I like this kind of expression, and also this chair. I like how it fills in the space. This model I drew from one of the replays, and I just like the line and the simplicity of it. This model here was a designer as well, and this reminded me of like Where's Waldo, and I used this image when I was publicizing, promoting this event, the art supply swap, and I just thought that was cool. The glasses, the shades, and just that stance. There's one just using the soft charcoal and just the side of it, no line really. Here. We saw this one. This one is with more detail. So the same pose, but more detail. This is Natalia. This is one of her poses. I was getting ready to cut this out. Okay, this is more of the animals, and here's the cow line drawing. And this is a goat with the tones, more several of the goat. This may have been watercolor. I'm sorry, wash or ink. Just line, more with the cows. Here we go, some more of the animals, and come back up. Oh, this is like all the animals. It just had this more like a baby calf. Birds, lots of birds in the past year and a half. But I like the lines or a brush, sorry, ink, quick drawing. Here, more ink. Baby raccoon. This one I did end up cutting out and glued onto wood. So I've got the animals. This is one that you saw I'm working on. Another time. Okay. So I don't think I'm going to use all these, but this is just what I might be working from. I have done one of this model's Celeste, and great model. I have lots of poses from her, even the same pose. I did it a few times. Anyway, so I have that, and actually it was in a literary magazine. It's the Mirror Maze edition, and it's out of college in California. Anyway, what I like about this is the strong line. This is the model who is in India. Okay, different model in India. Here she is 4 times. I've done 2 paintings from this series, this drawing series. Like them both a lot. Actually, they both sold. So, you know, that was nice. But she posed in a cube, which is interesting. Never had anything like that. This was the view from my studio. Another model, Pre-Berry, who has done some interesting things. This was not long ago. So is this everything? No. Okay. So here I go through some more. And is it bulked again? No, it's Pre-Berry. So you can see here she's wearing a dress. I like these. Now this is another model, male in Korea. This model, first time I saw someone and we drew in the bath, which we wouldn't have done in real life. I mean, in person. And I just liked how that was really interesting. Okay, so I like to use this. This is Sarah Ham, who was one of the coordinators at To Be or Not To Be. I think I've ever seen. This is when we had two women together. I love these. So you can see I've got a lot to work with. Looking forward to working with this one or a couple from here. And this model is in Asheville, North Carolina. I liked it when she had her violin and just the simplicity of the line there. Same with these, just the quick. And you can see I can do it several from a pose. This is when we had drawn this woman when she was pregnant, and then she had the baby months later. They could have been like 9 months later. This is Sheba from the months ago, the Saturday model extravaganza, and it was all about mystery. She had this interesting conspiracy about, well, her cats, aliens, and she had this whole thing worked out. I like them both. I'll probably be using them both. These I just showed you. Leia has this. I like this a lot. And then I gave this to someone at the stable. So we're at the stables on a Sunday prior to just starting the draft day caustic session. Did a lot. Okay, well, I have more, but don't have them all on here. So let me stop sharing. Is there anything else I want to say about these? So you see I have a lot to work with. And what I do though is choose what I like and I soak them, let them dry, and then I decided which I'm going to use and either glue them onto wood or well, that's what I did. So, but what I'm working on, aiming on, is making more three-dimensional also, which also could be the cut paper, and some might just be engraving on the studios for tiny interiors. And the reason why I have this tiny interior studio idea is because I was doing, or I have been doing, a lot of tiny houses. Anyway, so I was going to get back to work here, and like I showed that I was starting to work on this. So let me see if I switch the camera and I'll just keep going here. So when I work on the artwork, if I'm using the heat gun, I have to turn off my griddle because I don't want to blow the fuse, the circuit. So there's some back and forth there. I only started heating in this crock pot recently. I was using the medium that's on the griddle. So enough of that. I'm going to just keep going with this and maybe I'll talk about it. So you can see what I'm working on here. I started with one coat. Oh yeah, so I stopped I was heating it. So for the paper and the wood to absorb the wax, I say wax, it's caustic medium, which is beeswax and Daymar crystal, the combination, which is heating. All right, so I'm going to heat it more. And this was one coat of the medium that I applied. See if I can position this. Okay. So I need to turn off the griddle, and then I'm just going to use my heat gun. This already I had done, but it has to be warm to start working on it. When I was teaching with encaustic, I also had another camera. You can't exactly see. Well, the other camera was directed on the griddle. So now it might be anyway that some of this was missed, but you just want to go slowly and let the wax do its thing. And what I'm doing is like embedding the drawing in the wax. I say wax, I mean the encaustic medium. And I usually do 3 or 4 coats of the medium to protect the drawing and the paper, because later I'll be using the oil stick, which is like oil paint, and it stains the paper. So that's why it's like it's going to be embedded. During the pandemic, I actually changed to a different heat gun because it seemed like the other one was like dying and it was already more than 30 years old because we used it when we moved into this house to strip wood, whatever. So, so I started using this one, and it has 2 different speeds. I normally anyway would use the slow speed because you just want to let the wax take its time. I mean, maybe not totally necessary. Sometimes I do get impatient. But you have to control the heat. I always say that. And right now it's about, I don't know, 2 inches above the surface. I could possibly raise it and go higher, but it's kind of like the air will just push it around though. Let's see. I mean, it works. But I can see it's sort of streaky, and it's anyway, it's going to be like 3 or 4 coats, but it looks like some of this I will have to add more or apply more of the medium. Okay, just making sure everything is warm because I'm going to start applying that other medium. So here's what I have to do. So now I'm going to apply some more of the medium, and see there are places that it seems like it didn't even get to. So I'm going to just do that first. And this is still heating up. It takes like 2 hours. I'm going to just get it from over. I'll switch over so you can see. So I got my griddle over here. It's on again, and I'm just filling some of those spots that look like it didn't get to. Sometimes it resists even. Maybe not the case. I'm just kind of applying it where it didn't seem to get. And then I'm going to come back, just go to those spots, turn off my griddle. As long as it's not like wet, you can cook it. And I'll switch this over. Okay, so I'm coming back. Just where I applied it. That's all. And with more layers, the smoother it gets. I know that might be a place that I missed. So some people use a torch, and I guess it's a lot quicker. And it also seems like this motor will go fast and slow, even with the same speed. I mean, it could have to do with the power in here in my studio, and I have a fan or 2 fans on. Yeah, so it takes a while. Okay, I am just going to touch that up. This is the first layer. I just want everything embedded. Yeah. Great. That. So like I said, sometimes it could repel, and I don't know, it could be about the glue. But it looks like I'm hitting it, I'm getting it. And remember, this is the first layer. I haven't done any more, but it was just kind of making up for some of these places. I picked this because I like that, just the idea of the history, kind of going back in time. And you know, these models, they really put themselves into it, and they did this whole, they do the costume thing each month, theme, and it's kind of like I said in that little notebook, like it's sort of transporting and kind of bringing us along. So that's one reason I just kind of like it. Now I'm going to go ahead and apply more medium to this, and so I'm going to switch the camera. Now, so I'm over here. Now, as long as it's not a puddle, and let's see, I'm going to switch this just to show. So remember, this is the first layer. It's not all the same. There are some areas you could see that you can, feel the paper, even though there was the wax over it. So I'm building on it in several layers, and then it's finally kind of even too. So I'm protecting it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. It's warm. I can go ahead and apply the medium, and I usually do it in one direction. I'm going to just keep going with that. Let's turn it over. And this is just the second coat. So what I mentioned before is I soak these drawings, and this is only something that I started doing last year, fall, because I wanted to not have, I don't even know if you can hear this, I wanted to not have the charcoal just bleed. So this gave me some control and more to protect the drawing, even though I soaked it. Okay, so I turned off the griddle and now there's no puddles. I'm going to go ahead and fuse this and we'll switch this. Start from higher and just go work my way across and just look at it. Just use the layer below. So not too much heat. And sometimes I just have to stand and position myself so I can actually see. I don't want puddles. I just want it to listen and move on. But this is just the second layer. It's all about controlling the heat. See it without just like the shadow. So what happens if I turn it up higher? Okay. If it's from a distance, I guess it's okay. In other words, I can do it quicker. I need it to be high up. Yeah, I think I do feel more comfortable with the lower speed. Okay, so yeah, that's plenty. Smoothing it out. That's just 2 layers. Side. Put the griddle back on. Still isn't ready. Nope. So I'm using the medium that's on the griddle. So as long as it's not any puddles, I'm good to go. I'm just going to apply it again and I'll switch this over. And this might be boring. This is just the process. It's not a so this is really an environment. It's not just the figure. Where sometimes if it is just the figure, I'll do collage with it or paint more in the background. Anyway, but the first thing anyway is embedding the artwork. Hockey brush. Okay. It's 2. Now I'm gonna do my fusing, and I like keeping it slow. You know, maybe it was 3. Sometimes I write it down. Yeah, I'm thinking that was 3. I have to like roll the tape, but definitely need some more layers. And this just embedding it with medium, no encaustic paint yet. I did already prepare the ones from the art session Philadelphia, and they would be good to go. I haven't worked out exactly what I'm going to do, but they're embedded. And once it's embedded, I kind of have the freedom to just start painting. It could be like you might approach doing an oil painting. Also smooth it out, but remember, this is just 2 or 3 layers, just because I can like write it down. But it needs to be more even. Anyway. It just starts to get this dreamy look underneath. Basically, that's how I start doing the paintings. Remember, beneath the layers of the medium, and then I would start painting. So I think I'm going to stop recording and maybe do some more another time. Okay, bye.